How's it going today? I'll tell you a story how to get in trouble with antennas. Oh, I think this was in the 80s, if I remember right. Yeah, I worked for a local cable company. And as time went on, I think the FCC, if I remember this story right, it's been a few years, so you'll have to kind of bear with me. I think the FCC got a bellyful of the cable companies and their leaky cable systems. For those of you who don't know what a leak in a cable system is, it's not like water leaking out. What it is cable systems transmit channels, and in certain areas they can be somewhat strong. And if there are poor fittings or cracks in the cabling, the signal can escape and creep out into the real world. It's not terribly strong, but it can be picked up. One of the little annoyances is it can be picked up in the aeronautical band, and that can be a bit of a nuisance. And somehow the FCC got in this crusade where they were going to clean up the universe. Well, about that. Anyway, all the cable systems had to implement what's called a CLI program. Was that Cumulative Leakage Index? And basically, in a nutshell, you had to sweep or monitor a percentage of your system somehow, and you had to look for egress in the system in certain frequencies, most of them being in the aeronautical band. There was at the time, our system, you could buy these systems and put them into the cable system. And at the time, our system had a transmitter with a special signal. It was pretty distinguishable. It had kind of a weird warbly tone, and it was pretty well calibrated, so you could tell how much of the signal was creeping out into the real world. The other side of this coin is these little receivers that you carried around on your truck, or there were a lot of different systems. Some of them were like man-portable systems. They were little pack-type systems. And you donned the thing and basically started walking around the neighborhood. The more popular ones were the ones that were mounted on the trucks. And as time went by, the systems got more and more automated, more and more sophisticated. Some of them, you would just kind of sample the universe and look for the leaks and use GPS to mark where they were, and then you took the information back. At the time, we didn't have anything that fancy. Ours were just man-portable units. So there was a pack, an antenna, which consisted of a big dipole, which pretty much looked like a broomstick with two little leads or antenna kind of probes poking off of it, and a set of headphones and some other miscellaneous information. Anyway, when this started, I got stuck with the wonderful task of implementing this system and getting it up and running, and then passing it on to the worker bees. So we looked around, and I ordered a system, and I integrated it into the head end and got it all lined up, and then I went out merrily about my way with a little man-pack portable system in this antenna, kind of walking down the street. I actually went about a block or two from the head end where we were at, and started walking down the street. This street was just a residential area. It's a little neighborhood that, for lack of a better word, is too good. They're too good for the rest of the world. They think they're pretty important. It's an older neighborhood. It's pretty snooty. No big deal. I didn't think anything of it. Anyway, I got about, I don't know, halfway down the block, and this woman come kind of running out of her house, and I was standing on the curb in the street, not on her property and not on the sidewalk, because in that area the cabling was buried underground, and it was about in that area. So I figured, well, if I was going to have a chance of detecting any egress from the signal, I was going to get it there. She came barreling out there and kind of demanded to know what I was doing. And at the time, the terminology for this stuff wasn't real, I'm going to use the word friendly or thought out. And the only two terms that really fit really well were the word radiation or radiated or leakage, which neither one of the two I thought was very smart to be telling the customers. First off, I didn't think the word radiation was going to go over big. And secondly, I figured if I told this woman I was looking for leaks, she was going to think that the gas guy was with the gas company or the water municipality and have a conniption fit. So I told her I was looking for, I think, egress RF signals, and she acted like she understood, which kind of puzzled me, but I just let it go and merely went about my way walking down the street. Now keep in mind that this is the one day in like 5 years that I chose not to wear my cable company shirt with the cable company logo on it. But the truck was down at the end of the block, and I think I pointed to it if I remember correctly. Anyway, I didn't think anything of it, so I merely go about my way. I got down to the other end of the block and started to come back the other way. Anyway, here comes this cop car barreling up there and kind of comes to a screeching halt by me and demands that I lay the antenna down. I'm like, why? It's not anything particular. Well, it was kind of like, well, just do what we say. I'm like, okay, it's not a big deal. So I laid it down, and then they proceeded to kind of shake me down to find out what I was. And then they started asking me a miramar of questions, and I told them that I worked for the cable company. And they asked for some ID, and I think I showed them I think I had my company ID, and that didn't seem to really be good enough for them. They demanded to know what I was doing, and finally I kind of flipped the coin over on them and said, well, what do you think I am doing? Well, we've had a complaint that you're spying on the neighbors or some. They didn't have a real good explanation of what they were looking for. All they had was a complaint. And, mysterious men in black t-shirts were menacing the universe, or some scuttlebutt, I don't know. So just for fun, I told them if they didn't believe me, we could certainly go around the corner where the head-in was, which was a block away. So they packed me all up with my little antenna and my receiver and headphones and escorted me over to the head end and asked my supervisor if I was an employee, and he kind of gave him a funny look like, yes, he's an employee, why are you bothering him? Oh, we had a complaint. And he said, well, what kind of a complaint? Well, they couldn't give him a straight answer either. So that's the story of how I got picked up for doing my job in essence. I guess if I had wore a hat with a propeller on it or had a tinfoil hat, I'd have been better. It's, no good deed goes unpunished. So anyway, there's the story of how I got picked up for doing my job and using antennas, and how you can get into big trouble with antennas. Anyway, I thought you might like that. Take it easy. Have a fun day.